In a world filled with information, with knowledge at our fingertips and opinions filling every corner of our devices, it can seem as if we're more enlightened than ever before. But are we? What if our understanding of life, of truth, even of ourselves, isn't quite what it seems? What if the light we think we're basking in is, in fact, just a flicker from a screen? Perhaps now, more than ever, we need a different kind of enlightenment. Here are 6 reasons why. Firstly, excuse me, our understanding is exposed to illusion. Switch on the TV, scroll through your phone, open a glossy magazine, and you're met with a very particular view of what matters. Beauty, wealth, success, celebrity. These are the currencies of modern culture. Now, what's the unspoken message? It's, you need this, you should want that. I need to stay late at work. I have to look good. I must keep up. Now, these phrases reveal more than urgency. They do expose subtle beliefs. Beliefs like how long we work each week is what defines our value. Beliefs like that attractiveness determines our worth, and that popularity is a measure of success. But perhaps you've felt quietly that something doesn't sit right, that these values ring hollow. Then, in chasing them, we're slipping into a trap, one we didn't set, but one we reinforce every day. Now, a second reason why we need enlightenment is that our understanding is shaped by technology. Now, few would deny the marvels of modern technology. Where would we be without the car, the washing machine, or the internet? Science has given us tools, knowledge, and it's given us speed. And it's given us a whole new way of looking at the world. But isn't there a shadow side? As technology increasingly defines our lives, it can also narrow our sense of what's real. The scientific worldview, focused on what is measurable and material, often leaves little room for mystery or for meaning that transcends the physical. We can start to believe that nothing exists beyond what science can verify, that truth is only what can be proven. And yet love, justice, hope, these cannot be dissected in a laboratory. Perhaps we've lost touch with the light that guides us through the intangibles. Now, a third reason is that our understanding is manipulated by consumerism. Advertising works by igniting a desire, something we didn't even know we had that we want now. The latest phone, the perfect holiday, the car that makes a statement. We swipe, we buy, we justify, and then we do it again and again. Now, Albert Ellis, who was a psychologist, warned about the language we say we use. How we talk to ourselves is so important. Do you find yourself using the words must, should, need? Now, he called these signs of possible irrational beliefs. I must have that, we say. I need to feel good, we say. We chase possessions to fill a gap we can't quite name. But the gap remains, and the more we consume, the more it grows. Could it be that the real hunger is not for things, but for something more enduring, more meaningful, an inner richness not found in the checkout basket, but in enlightened insights? A fourth reason why we need enlightenment is that our understanding is limited by our circumstances. History teaches us that our understanding evolves. Once we believed the earth was the centre of the universe. Then we thought the atom was indivisible. Today's scientific truth may well become tomorrow's misconceptions. Our ideas about life, about love, morality, purpose, are just as subject to change. They're shaped by culture, by tradition, by family, by faith, also by individual experience. We absorb them without even knowing. Yet they vary vastly from one person to the next. As the 18th century philosopher Emanuel Swedenborg observed, each of us perceives truth through the lens of our own condition. What we grasp is only an approximation of something deeper. And so our task is not to be certain, but to keep seeking. A fifth reason why we need more enlightenment is that our understanding is influenced by personal fears and needs. Now, perhaps we want to fit in, to please, to belong. Our beliefs are often inherited from parents, from our friends, and from people we know in our community, and it's hard to let go of them, even when they no longer serve us, especially when doing so feels disloyal or frightening. Doubt can feel dangerous, yet it can also be liberating. To question, to wrestle, to re-examine. This is how understanding deepens. But it's not easy. Now, there's a joke of a man who, upon dying, finds two signs at the gates of heaven, the pearly gates that he reaches. Now, one sign points to God, and the other to a discussion group who are considering God. So what route does he take? He takes the second route. Sometimes we prefer to talk the talk rather than walk the walk. Eventually, we need to act on what we discover, and then perhaps we will see more deeply, even more deeply than before. Final reason for why we need deeper understanding? Because what we comprehend falters before something greater than ourselves. At some point, each of us meets that limit. When a parent says no, when we discover a mountain's immensity, when we find our bodies declining. These moments remind us that we are not all-powerful, that we don't get it all, that there are forces larger than our wants, our will. They are stronger than what we know. So we start to ask, what is behind all this? Who or what holds it all together? Is there a deeper thread running through it all? Whether we call it nature, spirit, humanity, or God, something stirs in us when we face the mystery. Not the mystery of gaps in knowledge, but the mystery of existence itself. And perhaps that's where true enlightenment begins. So, I've offered you 6 reasons why we need to be further enlightened. I'm sure all scientists would admit that their scientific instruments cannot directly measure the origin of compassion, of honesty, or of justice. We can't see the source of virtue any more than we can see the wind, but we feel its presence in acts of kindness, in beauty, in the good moments when life seems to hold more meaning. The eye sees the surface of things, but the inner eye, that sees further. And so, in a world teeming with information, we might still ask for light, not the glare of the screen, but the kind of light that brings insight, not just knowledge, but wisdom, not just facts, but true understanding, because it's only with that inner illumination that we begin to discern what truly matters. Thanks for listening to me. If you're interested in what I think enlightenment is, just click the link at the top of the screen.